What's up, everybody? Yo, it's your boy Nate here. I want to thank you guys for joining us for another episode of A Father's Authority. For those of you who are just tuning in for the first time, A Father's Authority is a part of Kingdom Relationships, and we exist to change the narrative on fatherhood. And I do that by bringing on different guests, different fathers. Sometimes I bring on females to talk about fatherhood from a daughter's perspective, but I do that by bringing on different dads to give you advice on fatherhood, to give you some templates on how they do it, some success tips, some things they did that didn't work, and things they did that do work, because we want to bring fathers back into the lives of their children. If you just tuned in, again, I'm Nate Holloway, the host of A Father's Authority, and we are going to have a great time tonight. So tonight, I have a special guest. It's Josh Ashford. He is the host of Dads on Purpose podcast. If you guys haven't watched that, go check it out. Listen to it on iTunes. You can watch on YouTube. Awesome podcast. You'll laugh, you'll get information, and you will just enjoy it. And tonight, we're just going to talk about all things fatherhood. So let's get at it. Josh, what's up, man?
What up, man?
How you
I'm
doing?
so nervous. I'm not nervous.
I was going to say, man, don't even try. You ain't nowhere near nervous. You on there every Friday talking about you nervous.
Man, you know what though? Even though, you know what I'm saying, even though we do the show every Friday, you still get nervous.
Yeah.
But what I've learned is nervousness is not a bad thing. Like, being nervous means that you care about the result.
And you humble.
Now, if you unprepared, that's a whole different story. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so I just get excited. So, and I got to clarify something, man. You said I'm the host. I'm the co-host because I ain't gonna cut Kev out. Like, that's my dude. That's my co-host. You know what I'm saying? So me and Kev, we co-host the show. I'm the one that opens it up.
Well, you guys do a great job. You know, like I said, I've watched it with both you guys on there. Guys do a great job. We gotta get him on here to interview him.
Good luck. No, so the thing about Kev is, Kev, he's a youth pastor,
Okay.
and he also has a full-time job. My schedule is much more flexible.
Okay.
So like I'm able to do these shows. I think we have we got a guest show coming up sometime this week, but he's going to be on that one. But it's real hard to get with him because his schedule is so rigid. So yeah, but yeah, if you want to book him out, you know what I'm saying, 2 months in advance, you know what I'm saying, we'll take that advancement check. There's no check.
I totally understand, man. But Josh, tell the people about Josh Ashford. Tell them about you, man. Who you are, what you do.
Man, how much time we got? Is this an hour show?
It's our show.
Oh, okay. So I was born West Philadelphia. I'm just kidding. No. Yeah, man. So Josh Ashford, like you said, co-host Dads on Purpose podcast. By day, I perpetrate a commercial insurance agent. That's what I do. That's what pays my bills for now. Married for 4.5 years. Sounds about right. 2 kids, got a 3-year-old daughter and an 18-month-old daughter. And I'm on daddy duty right now. So that's what I was telling Nate, is that I'm on daddy duty right now. So I got the baby monitor in my hand, making sure don't nothing pop off. But yeah, man, in a nutshell, that's me, believer of Christ, dad, insurance agent, and man, just a chill dude. I like whiskey. That's I don't apologize, man. Hey, I don't know, you know what I'm saying? I don't know your listeners if they, you know what I'm saying, if they too saved, you know what I'm saying, to enjoy some whiskey, but that speaking in tongues. But yeah, man, I enjoy the flavor. I'm not trying to get drunk. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man, you don't have to explain, man. You do. I tell everybody at the end of the day, you have to answer to God for you. If it's wrong, hey, every now and then I probably can't handle. I can't handle it. So every now and then I may have a glass of wine with my wife, but 9 times out of 10 I won't, unless it's the flavory sweet stuff. And every now and then
you want the sugar.
Yeah, I'm one and
Yeah,
done.
yeah.
You know,
You like your drinks like my mom like her coffee. My mom put like that much coffee and that much creamer in there. It still
so
stays too strong.
that's me. I'm like when I was drinking a lot of coffee, 6 creamers, 6 sugars. You know,
Bro.
and about 6 ounces of coffee. It's
I
got to
almost
be
told you to get off my show, but this ain't my show.
my show. Yeah, man. So, man, I'm glad to have you on here, man. I found you on Instagram, followed your podcast, and I prayed about it. Every year I pray to God about who to have on, and
Good.
when I get a piece of my spirit about it, I reach out and ask those people to come on. Thank you for Jola, my wife. She's laughing at me.
Hey, she
And
laughing
for
at you or me? Because I'm funny.
But man, so I like to bring guys on that I watch. I've never seen you with your kids, but I've seen pictures on Instagram of you. But I hear you talk, and I hear your heart. Um, so I like to bring guys on that can talk about fatherhood from a real perspective
Yeah.
and understand, how guys out there need to know about it. Because when my son was born, I didn't have my father in my life, but I had father figures for every stage of my life. I was blessed with, but I had to pray and say, God, I need you to show me how to raise him. I don't know what to do, and I'm still learning. But through that, it helped me to say, okay, I can do this. I can talk to guys. I can interview guys who God gave me the vision for the podcast and
Yeah.
everything, because I'm learning from you guys, just like other guys are learning from you.
Yeah.
So as you guys are talking, I'm taking notes. I'm going back, reading the transcript, taking notes. Oh, I'm gonna do that, do this,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and other people are learning too. So that's why I want to bring guys on. So with that, what does fatherhood mean to you?
I mean, you said a lot, and then you just threw that one on me, bro. That's a loaded question on there. Like, well, and so I mean, I don't know. I don't really have an answer. Like, I don't know if anybody's ever asked me, what does fatherhood mean to me? Um, but I would think my answer would kind of be along the lines that, just me. It's not even about what does fatherhood mean to me. It's about what does being a father mean. You know what I mean? Because I
Mm-hmm.
think fatherhood is more of a statement, and fatherhood is more of I mean, being a father, it's a noun and a verb. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's a label and it's something that you do.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so for someone to say, yeah, I'm a father, but to not do anything was just like, well, are you really? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
you kind of just a sperm donor. But I think it involves being present. I think it involves teaching and guiding. 'Cause, I mean, at the end of the day, like, we're not here to tell our kids what to do. We're here to help guide them. At the end of the day, that's all we can do. Like, what else can we do but help guide them and say, hey, like, here's the route that I think that's best for you, and here's why. Now, if you don't have to listen to that, it's kind of like what my 3-year-old, tonight, she didn't want to eat her dinner, and so she ate some of it, and then she was just like, well, Daddy, can I have my snack and can I have my yogurt? And I was like, no. I was like, you can eat the rest of your dinner and then you can have it. And she was just like, well, I'm not hungry anymore. And I was like, that's fine, you don't have to eat anymore. I said, but understand that if you don't eat anymore, like, you're not going to get your snack. And so if you want to get your snack, this is what you have to do. And so it's kind of, what I'm saying, like teaching them, like, okay, there's a process to follow. You don't have to follow it, but understand, like, you can't get that carrot at the end if you don't follow this process.
Right.
Um, that's I don't know. I don't even know if I answered the question.
No, you did, and what I like about it is you're the first father that I've had on that said that. That answered like you did, and it was like, I can't say I know what I don't know what it means, but you know what it is. You know what it is to you, and you answered it good, because it's like you have to. I like how you said fatherhood is a verb and a noun,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
because it is what you are and it's what you do.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
fathers, we are our God-given role as a father. It makes us, we are fathers. We are the person who controls the direction of our children's lives, who speaks into them.
Look, I was about to say, now your wife is watching, so don't get cussed out on the comments.
Man, let me tell you something. Yeah. So let me get back to it. So, but no, but because we control. I was thinking about something one time, and I did one of my first interviews. I was doing a study, and you know how they say the wife makes the house a home.
Nope, but I like it.
They say the wife makes the house a home,
Mhm.
but I believe it's the father's voice, the father that sets the tone and the
Mm.
atmosphere
Mhm.
of the home. So the
Yeah.
father comes in. If I come in with an attitude, my wife and my son could be in the house all day, happy, go lucky, go. But I've come in the house, I'm tired of this. Da, da, da. It's gonna change the tone of my home.
Mm.
But if I come home, I grab my son, hey bud, how you doing? Can we get that hug? Go to my
Yeah.
wife, kiss
Mhm.
her. Hey babe, how was your day? It sets the tone of my home. So it
Yeah.
sets the atmosphere. And as a father, it's our job to set the atmosphere in the lives of our children. And so we set the atmosphere, we set the direction of their lives, and it's what we do. And I think that's one of the problems with society today is we don't have a lot of
Mm.
fathers setting the direction, the atmosphere in the lives of their children. We're not speaking
I would
what
challenge that because you so and so here's why. And so I'm real I'm real logical. Like contrary to popular belief, like people think I fly by the seat of my pants, but I'm really logical. Like I process things very fast. And so when you say that the father sets the tone of the household, I would say yes and no. Because here's why. I think it takes two to tango. And,
Mhm.
and so if you're a single parent out there, whether you're a male or a female, you're setting the tone in your household. Now,
Right.
as a married couple, you both have to be in agreement on what's going to go on in your household and how you guys are going to respond. And so if you guys aren't in agreement, so you guys aren't on the same page, well, then you might come in one way, but your wife might think it's okay to act a different way in front of your kids. So now you got conflicting issues. So regardless of whether you're, hey, what's up? You know what I mean? Showing them what a dad should be, what a husband should be. Well, if your wife is setting a different example of what a mother should be or what a wife should be, then we got a problem. So I think if you're both on the same page, um, that's what really sets it. Because my wife and I don't want to say we don't argue in front of the kids because we want to display to them, if there is a disagreement, how do you resolve that, right?
Right.
Like, what I'm saying, or if you do wrong, like if dad wrongs mom, like I will apologize in front of my kids. You know what I mean? Now my
Mhm.
wife, I know she ain't watching the show, so I don't know. She's not really wanting to apologize, but she might send me a text message or something. But that's I think that is more important than the dad quote unquote setting the tone. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes total sense, and I totally agree. When I say set the tone, I mean when we come in,
Mm.
if we come in, disrespectful to our
Oh
wives,
yeah, 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 yeah.
tone how I totally agree with what you're saying because they both have to be in agreement. My wife and I, we do our best to stay in agreement when it comes to my son. Sometimes I may do something like recently. I messed up big time. You
What'd you
know,
do?
in
Huh,
my,
what'd you do? I want to know.
I
Can you
kind
say it on the air? Is
huh?
CPS gonna get called?
No, I ain't hit him nothing like that. It was
Hmm.
it was just that I gave in to him. It was in disagreement of what my wife wanted to do, and we
Hmm.
weren't in agreement. And it kind of showed him that all I gotta do is do this, and Dad will give me what I want, no matter what Mommy says. So
Hmm.
then we had to come back, and me being a man, I went and apologized to her. We had to talk about it, and then
Yeah.
I talked to him and
Hmm.
told him this is how it's supposed to be. So,
That's
like
good.
you said, we do have to be in agreement, and we as dads got to be willing to say when we're wrong. When we're wrong and
Right.
apologize. And so, but no, I love challenge me, please, not on my show though. No, I'm just
I,
messing
I ain't got to listen.
with
I'm listen. I ain't got no check in my bank account. I'm a challenge.
you. So,
I'll
man,
tell you, people gonna stop inviting me because so here's the thing, like what I'm
I
saying
ain't
on
gonna
on, on
invite
on my show, like I be quiet a lot. Like I come in there, I do a jokey joke now and then, but people invite me. That's more when it's my turn to talk. And when you let me talk, you know what I'm saying? No,
man. I've watched your show. Y'all be having a ball. Y'all be rolling over there.
man, it's
But let
fun.
me
It's
ask you, what's the best part of being a father?
Man, you know what? That I think it changes at every level of the child's age. Like my kids are only, you know what I'm saying, like they're 18 months and 3. So I only have experienced what it's like to be a dad until 3 years old, right? And
Mhm.
so, you know what I'm saying, somebody else might be like, oh, it's when they get married. Oh, it's when they do the, you know what I mean? So, but my experiences I've only had until 3. And so it changes. And so with my first daughter, one of the best things, which also one of the scariest things, is the first night my wife left me with the baby alone. She didn't even leave me the whole night. I think it was like till 10. She went to a work. I think her office was like doing, they had some executives, they went out. She was home by 10 o'clock. So, but this was my first time like feeding the baby, putting the baby to sleep. And I remember standing up in the room, just like holding her and rocking her. She didn't want to go to sleep. And so I just stood there and I was rocking her. And I remember I was texting, one of my second dads. I don't know what else to call him, but shout out Norm if you're watching this. I texted him and I was just like, I get it. Like I get it because so Norm's daughter is my wife's best friend.
Okay.
So I was at the wedding and I heard, his speech that he gave about his daughter and these things that he was saying about her. And I mean, I've been good friends with her for what's this 20, this is 22. I've known her since 2005. And so like I said, he's like a second dad to me. And so he was like telling me like, this is what it's about. And so I texted him at that moment. I was like, yo, I get it. And so at that moment, that was the best part for me. But I mean, I can keep rambling on, but I think
There
in
you
the
go.
nutshell, it's the experiences and experiencing life with my kids. So like today, my 3-year-old and I, it was kind of tough because she didn't want to listen this morning. And so she didn't want to get dressed. And so I was just like, all right, baby girl, it's like, you're not listening today. So we can't go to gymnastics. And so I took her leotard away and I was just like, we can't go. And so she started crying, blah, 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 blah. Well, anyways, I picked her from school and I was like, hey, we need to go to Walmart because we need to go get some things. And I was like, yeah. She's like, well, why'd you pick me up early? And I was like, well, we were supposed to go to we're supposed to go to gymnastics, but you weren't listening. So I was like, if you listen, we can go next week. But here, the moral of the story is that it hurt me in that moment to take something away from her.
Mm-hmm.
But then to me, I made up for it by that time we got to spend together. We went to Walmart. And so holding her hand, walking into the store, seeing her happy, jumping and dancing, looking at other people staring at me and just seeing us interact, like that was the best part of, being a dad for me, is just seeing her alive and being in her element and not like cut like chest high. Like I don't want people restrict their kids, man. People don't want kids to act like kids. Like she's 3.
Yeah.
She jumps. She wants to live life. And I love being a part of that. So that's a long answer to say that the best part of being a dad, and is just being able to experience life with them.
Yeah. And I totally understand, man, because like when my son, he's 6 now, about to
Mm-hmm.
be 7 in April. And I love how you say it changes by the stage, because I didn't think about it like that, but it does, because when he was born,
Mm-hmm.
I'm the oldest of 5. So I've had the experience of,
Got
helping
you.
my mom. My mom was a single
Yeah.
mom. So I had to step up and help it. So that part I was used to, just being with the baby. But just the teaching and the discipline and
Mm.
those things, that was the hard part for me, because I spoiled him from a young age. If he said daddy, I was daddy, like daddy, and my
Daddy,
wife,
can I? Daddy, can I?
yeah,
That's a plug for
yeah.
your shirt. You're welcome.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
You
That's
guys
what
stand up and show it to him, man. That's what you're supposed to do.
shirt.
I'm
Oh,
trying to
look,
help you.
they go show this. They go see the shirt, man.
Oh,
Look, man, this is my show, man. Don't you stay over there, all
sorry. I'm sorry, my bad.
right? But it was just like my wife would tell me I need to have boundaries, need to have boundaries, need to have
Mm,
boundaries.
mm.
But I was loving him, calling me and loving him, daddy, can I, daddy, can I? And then so I just felt like, let me give him. And as he got
Yeah.
older, I was like, oh, that daddy can I. Now I gotta start because it was like he wanted to monopolize all my time. But
Mm,
one of the best parts for me is when I come, is seeing the smile on his face
yeah,
when I walk through the door.
bruh.
And it's like he'll be at the door. I pull in the garage. I see the garage door open. Daddy's home. Daddy's home. Daddy, can we play? Daddy, can we do it? Daddy, take clothes off yet? Daddy. And he's on my and I love that. But I'm looking forward to what is going to be next when he
Hmm.
gets older.
Yeah.
And I love the teachable moments I get to have with him. When I get to tell him about respect, when I get to tell him about how I treat mommy, when I get those moments, that's one of the best part for me is
Good.
because I get to impart something into him
Yeah.
and to see him reciprocate. So, funny story, it snowed a couple weekends ago, and he said, Daddy, can we go outside? Well, I was here in my office, I was doing some stuff. I said, Daddy will take you out at 12 noon. So, okay, so Alexa, set timer for 12 noon. Alexa sets the timer. I'm in here doing work, and the timer, and right before then, like a couple days before that, I'll talk to him about always being a man of his word.
Yeah.
And so the timer went off. He said, Daddy, it's 12 o'clock. It's time to go outside. I said, okay, bud, get Daddy 5 minutes. I got to finish this. He said, Daddy, you said you have to be a man of your word. And it's 12 o'clock. And you said we were going outside at 12 o'clock. You're not keeping your word.
Boy.
I was like, let me go put my clothes on.
Boy.
But to see him give that back to me in
Yeah.
the context that I gave it to him, that was one of the best part for me, because he gave it back to me, like, Daddy.
Bro, I'm so glad that I'm not the only one, because my 3-year-old does that. Like she asked me today while we were driving to daycare, she was like, Daddy, can I watch Encanto after we get home from school? We driving to school. I'm like, yeah, say less, bet, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Once we get home, watch all the Encanto you want to. We get home, and I was like, I picked her up and I was like, yeah, we got to go to the grocery store and then we're going to go home. She's like, yeah, then we're going to watch Encanto. And I was like, yeah. So we watched Encanto. We watched Encanto twice tonight. Just for everybody out there. Hey, side note, sorry, ADHD. Do you have nieces and nephews that live close to you?
No, they don't live close to me. Okay.
No. And so we're talking about this, and I know I ain't trying to steal your show, but this this is how my mind works. We were talking about being able to experience, our kids at these different levels, and just how like beautiful it is. It reminded me that like I have 5 nieces that live within like a mile and a half of me, and they're all in elementary to high school, and they're all like they're nieces, all girls. And so I was just like, I love the fact that I get to experience like my girls, but I also get like a taste of like what it's going to be like when they're going to be older. Like, yeah, like it's not going to be the same because they're not my daughters, but the fact that I still get to like walk through life with them and learn these lessons. And so I'm not blindsided. You know what I mean? And so I didn't know if you got to experience the same thing in your family that I do, because any dads out there, man, I would say like, if you have brothers and sisters that have kids and they live close, like interact your kids with them as much as you can, because that's a beautiful thing. But 2, make sure you're interacting, because the lessons that you learn from them, like it's been a minute since we were teenagers.
Yeah.
And so the time between when you're a teenager and when your kids are teenagers, bruh, the world didn't change 3 times. You know what I mean? But when I'm experiencing it with my nieces, like I'm like, okay, so I got a 15-year-old, I got 2 15-year-old nieces, I got a 14-year-old niece, you know what I'm saying? I got a 12-year-old niece. And so I'm like, okay, like the world's gonna change, but okay, this is kind of where it's at now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I totally understand. Yeah.
Yeah, but I didn't know if you got to experience that too. But the dads out there,
I got to experience it because I got a 13-year-old niece. They live about 6 hours away. Okay. I got a 13-year-old niece and I got a 20-something-year-old nephew. I got a 20-something, but my wife's family is about 2.5 hours away from us. Okay. So I interact with her nieces and nephews as well. I'm close to them, so I see it. But I have a lot of mentors and a lot of friends that have teenage kids. Most of my friends, I'll be 50 next year. So most of my friends have grandkids, kids that are teenagers, kids that are graduating from high school. So I watch it and I learn from them, because I'm saying I talk to them and I'm like, man, what I gotta look forward to at this age? And they be like, this, that. Like my neighbor has 2 teenage kids, as a son that is in sports, and he told me, man, he said it doesn't get easier. He said, you think it's going to get easier? He said, it doesn't get easier. He said, you spend more money when they get older than you do when they're younger. And so, and those pieces of advice, and that's good, because you're right. You get to experience that in those pieces of advice, but you also get to be a father figure to them as well.
Boom.
and you get to learn how to speak into a teenager's life
Hmm.
as a father figure. Because like my niece, I speak to my niece. I can tell my niece when my niece gets in trouble, my sister will call
Yeah.
me, or I'll call her, or I'm talking to her about
Yeah.
stuff, like talking to my nephew about stuff. I almost had to cave his chest in one time because he tried me, but but you
You so
know,
old school. Like you an old head, old head. You can't hit these kids these days, bro. Like
this was years ago. This was years ago. Okay, this was years ago.
the statute
Um,
of limitations.
but I said
My wife
almost.
home. No, my
Um,
wife home and my kids, my daughters, they home.
but you get to be a part of that, and as
Mhm.
fathers, we're not just fathers to our kids.
Mm.
We're father figures to kids we meet, hit our kids' friends when they come to
Right.
our house. We're that father figure for them. When we meet our nieces and nephews, we're that father figure. Both of my sisters are single mothers, so
Mm.
I have to. I'm that figure, that father figure for my nieces and my
Takes a
nephews.
village, man. Takes a village.
Huh? Yeah,
It
it
takes a
takes.
village. Bro, do you know on it? So I mean, you probably don't know this. I mean, if you listen to the show, sometimes you might hear it, but I volunteer at my local high school with an entrepreneurship class. And so what I do is basically I volunteer with a class and I take a group of high school students and it's literally Shark Tank. So they come up with an idea and we take it from scratch to prototype to pitch where we're pitching for real world money.
Mm,
And so the school that I volunteer in, our school district, like it's honestly our school district I think it's one of the greatest in the nation. It's really high up there, but we have 5 high schools, but the one that I volunteer at is quote unquote the less than high school.
okay.
And so I mean, the kids are just as smart, just as bright. At the end of the day, they family just ain't got us just as much money. Like that's all
And
it is.
they
Um,
need you. They need people like you.
but what it is for me though is I'm there walking through there with them hand in hand. Man, I tell them from the beginning. I tell them, look, y'all forgive me. I don't give a damn if y'all make an A. And I tell them all the time. I'm like, I don't even know how you guys are graded. And the teacher's just like, oh, don't worry about that. But I'm like, my goal is to help you guys understand that there's more than what you've been exposed to. And as high school students, you can create a business that's making 6 figures by the time you graduate and
Yep.
you don't have to follow nobody else's plan. And so that's literally what I'm with them doing. And so kind of what we're talking about, like your neighbor's kids and things like that. Like that's why I'm with these kids, man, is to help them understand. And I don't want to say be a father figure, but to me, I look at it more as like I'm a big brother or uncle to them. You know what I mean? Just
Mhm.
like being there, being present. Because a lot of them have their fathers there, I think. But to me, it's just like being another, you know what I'm saying? Being another
Yeah,
add-on to it.
being an influence
And
for
I
them,
think
no
that's
doubt.
so important, whether that's in the school districts, whether that's in your neighborhood. You know, when I'm outside in our neighborhood, people drive by, I wave at everybody. I don't listen. It's a lot of people that don't look like me in my neighborhood. I wave at all of them. I don't care.
Right.
And they,
Yep.
they look at me like, who is this? Who is look, I can't say it in my show.
So speaking of saying, and so you're speaking, how important are fathers' words to his children?
Sorry, hold on. I gotta turn this monitor down. I didn't hear what you said. You pulled away from the mic.
No. How important are fathers' words to his children?
Oh man, that's absolutely 100%, 110%. You know, what you say matters. Not only what you say, but how you say it. You know what I mean? Because if you yelling at them and beating them and saying, I love you, do you? Like what you
Right.
know what I mean? Like what are you showing your kids? I had to check myself this morning. We don't hit our kids. Um, that's just not what we do. That's the parenting style that we agreed upon, right?
Mhm.
Um, and my 3-year-old again, she didn't want to get ready this morning, and so she hit me, and I looked at her and I just flicked her. I said, "You hit me, I hit you." But at later on in the day, I was just like, ah, and I wasn't upset that I hit her, like because I didn't even like hit her. Like I literally just like flicked her. Like for me, it was like, okay, you don't hit people like unless you want to get hit. But I realized in that moment what I was teaching her is that it's okay for a man to hit you.
Mm.
And so it's not even just your words, but it's your actions. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so, I had to apologize to her. Um, and I didn't even like do anything really wrong, but I was like, I don't want her to think that in any instance, if she does mess up, yo, baby girl, you're not supposed to hit anybody. But if you do go off the hinge and hit somebody, I don't want you to think that it's okay for someone that loves you or says that they love you to put their hands on you.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so yeah, I think whether what you do, what you say, how you say it, the context that you say it, the lessons you teach, man, it all it all matters. You know what I mean? Like it is literally what we do as fathers. Like if you don't, what would they say? If you ain't got your word, what's the old school saying? Saying a man's words by his bond, or what word is bond,
And
whatever.
word is bond. Words
Yeah,
is bond.
like back, and I'm saying in jail, like all you got is your word. We're not in jail, but to use those analogies, I ain't never been to jail. I don't want nobody looking up my record or nothing like that. I'm good. But yeah, I mean, all you have is your word. And so you want to make sure that those words that you say are truthful. And if you're speaking love, you want to be showing love too, right?
Yeah, definitely. Because that, so as a father, if you're a father with daughters, and like you said, you made a good point. If you're beating your daughter, now I want that I'm not against discipline. I'm not against a occasional spank. A difference between spanking your child and beating your child. When I was coming up, we got beat.
Yeah.
Belts.
Oh yeah, bro. I got hit with hangers, shoes.
Yeah. So
My
that was,
dad punched me in the chest when I think I was like 14. Pow!
man, I remember the first time I turned 18, thought I was grown. My mom tried to cave my chest in because I got smart with her. But I'm not against. Sometimes it depends on what it is and what warrants it. If it warrants you getting a few taps to understand
Well,
that's
but here's my question. So what, and now I'm gonna steal your show. What warrants that? Because, and this is why I'm saying that. And again, I'm at 18 months and 3 years old. So that's what I know. But then at the same time, I have nieces. And from what I've realized is that a lot of times, and this may not be you, but a lot of times when we do hit our kids, it's a lack of wanting to dive deeper on our part.
right. Yeah, and I
Because
understand that.
like my look, this morning she didn't want to get dressed because she was tired. Once we got in the car and she was dressed, I realized, like, my daughter is a chatty Cathy. She will talk the entire way to daycare and back and all that stuff. When we were in the car, she was quiet, and I just kept hearing her just yawn back there. And I was like, "Baby girl, you still sleeping?" She's like, "Yeah." And so a lot of times as parents, when we result to hitting, like it's more of a lack of wanting to dive deeper and figure out what's really wrong. That's just what I've learned. But hey, you know what I'm saying? That's your house, so you do what you do.
Yeah, but it took for me. It's age range. It's age range. So now 3 years old, I wouldn't. Ain't no spankings at 3 years old. 3 years old, you still learning. Still now, any time I discipline my son, it's you having a conversation first. We're talking about it, son. This is what you did. Whatever type of discipline is. This is what you did. You're not supposed to do this. This is why. So now you have to be disciplined, whether it's taking something from you, whether it's going to timeout, whether it's punishment, whether it's getting a spanking. This is what you have to. That's what I believe people should do. You need to let your kids know. You don't just go off and cock off and just smack a child in the back of the head or something like that, and just your child looking at you like, what I do? They don't understand a lot of times that what they did was wrong because they're still growing up. Now, I'm a firm believer. I go to talking and sitting down and explaining first before anything else. Like for me to hit me, that for me that will warrant it. And you're different with different parents.
Yeah.
Lying, or disrespecting your mother would warrant that for me.
But why? Because now I'm curious. And so I'm not the type of dude that's gonna sit here and judge you. I don't know if your listeners will, but I genuinely want to understand, like, how do we think that's okay? Because obviously whatever it is, you've deemed that that's necessary and that's okay. But I want to know, like, how is that the best corrective action?
Well,
So I've taken a lot of, like, I've studied a lot of behavioral science. We just had a behavioral doctor on the last show, and like the the data's not there, but a lot of times, that's what we were taught because that's what our parents were taught. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it goes all the way back to, bro. Like, I'm not trying to get into this, but like that literally goes back to slavery. Like when slaves act up, they were corrected with lashes and beatings.
Yeah, I can see that. But for me, it's more of a. Of course, I'm gonna say it's what I've known, but not
Yeah,
to the extent of what I've known. But it's
yeah.
also I go for what I believe biblically when the Bible says you spare the rod, you spoil the child. You know,
We
and
ain't got time for that episode. How's
and
about no.
I don't I don't want my son to grow up feeling like there are not consequences to
Hmm.
certain actions. So now I'm the type, if I learn something different, a different way,
Yeah,
and I
yeah, yeah.
see, okay, I'm wrong and I do it this way. I just like coming up, what I know when the way my I was disciplined when I was coming up, I came up and said, no, I'm not gonna do it that way. I
Yeah.
refuse to do it that way. So those are things I've learned, and I learned the talking first way. My
Hmm.
son very seldom, very rarely gets a spanking, but he will get a talk to. Like my godfather who helped raise me, he never ever spanked me or whipped
Yeah.
me, but his talks made you feel so bad about doing what you did
Uh,
that you would never do it again. And so that's where
yeah.
I learned that from, that talking where sit down. And my son, he doesn't like to disappoint us.
Oh,
So
yeah, that's what I'm about to say right there. I
yeah,
had a friend that her dad never yelled and never raised his voice, but when you knew he was upset when he said, "I'm disappointed in you." You'd be like, "Oh, please beat me, like please give me a spanking." Like, you know what I mean? Like, spank me. Don't say that you're disappointed in me because you built this relationship, and there's a certain, like, I don't want to say expectation, but you think highly of someone and how they look at you. So
yeah,
whereas a spanking, oh, I mean, bro, it's a spanking and spanking. Like, how much more you gonna beat me? But now you say you're just like, oh, I I let you down.
yeah,
That's yeah.
yeah. My son can't stand disappointed. If he tell me, you hurt us by doing that, or he'll just bust out crying because he
Mm.
he don't want to hurt us. So I don't have to go that route really with my son. We can talk to
Bro,
him,
hold on.
but
I need a tissue.
you funny.
All right, I'm good.
Yeah.
Sorry, my bad, bro.
No, you good, man. You good. You good. But for
Sorry,
me,
you Facebook, YouTube. My
But
bad.
for me, words, a father's words to his children are very, very important. Like you said, like we were saying,
Big facts.
because if you, as a father of daughters, if you come in the house, you speak down to your daughters all the time, they're
Hmm.
going to allow a man to speak down to them because this is what my father did. When I said my son, if I come in and my son and I talk to my son in any kind of way, then he's
Hmm.
going to grow up thinking that's what he is. Like for me, and I tell a story all the time. I grew up being told I was lazy. I wasn't going to be anything. That I was slow. And for the majority of my life into adulthood, what was I?
Hmm.
Lazy. You know, I wasn't succeeding at a whole lot. It wasn't until like my late 20s. Now, music was my thing, but it
Yeah.
wasn't until like my late 20s, my mid 20s, that I realized, and I met my mentor at the age range,
Yeah.
that I realized that's not me, that I could be it. So he started speaking into me. He started speaking into my life. He started
Mm.
exposing me. He started telling me these things that you are this. And so it changed. And then it was adulthood.
Yep.
And if I'm honest now, sometimes it still creeps in when I'm trying to do something because those were the words that were spoken to me, and these
Mm.
are from male figures,
Yep.
you
Yeah.
know, in my life. And so when we do that, our words go into our children's lives. Our words
Mhm.
follow them into adulthood. Adulthood. Our words control the direction of our life. We tell them they're stupid. We keep telling them that, then they're going to grow up thinking they're stupid. They're gonna grow up acting like that. Well, you say I'm stupid, dad say I'm stupid, mom say I'm stupid. So, you tell them you just a problem child. Grow up.
Check this though, Nate. Like the words that you don't speak are just as important and vital too. So, I'm saying? So I grew up in LA, right? I grew up in the 90s.
You're not a Rams fan, are you?
Huh?
You're not a Rams fan, are you?
I mean, I rock with the Rams. They're fine. Yeah. Bro, I'm a Raiders fan.
Let me cancel my show.
That's fine. We can turn it off right now. I'll leave the studio. How do I get out of here?
I'm a Niners fan.
That's fine. I'm sorry. Anyways, back to things that are important. No. So I grew up in LA in the 90s, right? And I grew up during the whole East Coast, West Coast beef, blah, 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 Tupac, Biggie, bloop, whoop, whoop. Everybody around me was a gang member. So my brother was in gangs, my dad was an OG, my uncles, my cousin, everybody was in the gang but me. I don't like getting hit. I don't like hitting people. Never been in a fighting day in my life. I'm good. And so nobody ever poured into me telling me that I was special or that I was important or that I mattered. And so I developed my own self-talk. I got around some people. I said I'd never been to jail. I got arrested when I was like 11 years old on some felony theft stuff. Case charge got dropped or whatever. And so I had started telling myself that I wasn't good enough because one, I was insecure. So I have a mild form of Tourette's. And so to me, I thought like, oh, I'm weird. I'm different. You know what I mean? Like I'm not special. And so in turn, I kind of shut the world off. Like nobody was pouring into me. Right. And so I think the words that we don't say are just as crucial as the words that we do say. It wasn't until probably when I was in high school, we moved to Texas in 2000. So I was 13. And my grandfather moved, he's probably like 40 minutes away from me. He moved out here. Let's say I graduated high school in 2005. My grandmother and my grandfather moved here in 2004. And so when I graduated high school, the college that I went to, they just happened to live in that city. And so when I was in college, I would go hang out with my grandfather all the time. And that's where he started to pour into me, like to tell me that, I have value. I'm doing great things and things like that. And so that's where I think it started to click. Bro, my first semester in college, I had a 1.4 GPA. Like I was drinking 5 nights a week. Like that's all I was doing because I was just like, oh, nobody cares. I'm here, have a good time. But as I talked to my grandmother and my grandfather, I realized like, yo, like, what am I doing? One, I know better. And as they poured into me, it clicked. And so, I mean, I graduated with a 3.2, fixed everything. But then I saw my value. That's good. But it wasn't until I was in college that somebody was pouring into me. So it's like, yo, if somebody was like, my parents did the best they could with what they had. My mom worked several jobs. My dad worked several jobs. Like I was home a lot by myself, even though I had an older brother and a younger sister, but there was nobody pouring into me. And so I don't want to miss over that. I say all that to say like, yo, like the words we say that we pour into our kids are important, but also the words that you don't say are just as valuable. So say some words, say something.
Yeah. And let me, I want to make a disclaimer too. I know I said, that I had people speaking into me and speaking things, but I did have some people that were speaking good things to me. But the voice you hear mostly are the one. But I want to give a shout out to my mom because my mom was a single mom of 5 kids, and she would never let me say the word can't. She would never let me say I can't do something. And she was always. I saw my mom. Even though we didn't have, but I saw her do everything she could, make sure we had something, on the table, something for Christmas. If she had to go to the Goodwill and get toys that they were giving away, she made sure we had something.
Bro, I done been to the food pantry. You know what I'm saying?
And
look,
so,
I know what government cheese tastes like and powdered milk.
That's the best grilled cheese sandwich in the world.
Not. I don't know what you're talking about. I praise God, I have not had to have no government cheese. First of all, with the government, I don't know what your government gave you, but the government in LA, we would get imitation cheese, and
Oh
imitation
no, we
cheese
had the
don't
block.
melt.
It came in a box
No,
like
no,
this.
I know what you're talking about, but I'm also saying, like, you know what I'm saying, with food stamps, things like that, imitation cheese don't melt. Like, no matter how many seconds you put it on, imitation cheese does not melt. So I don't know what kind of grilled cheese sandwich you're making with government
Man,
cheese and imitation cheese, but
I'm telling you, we had two different governments then because
that
it was
California
good.
government, a whole different vibe. Powdered milk, bro, that is the sourest.
Hey man, I hated that. I hated powdered milk.
Sorry, don't. Anyways, this is your show. Keep going.
Because that made the worst cereal in the world.
Bruh.
Made the worst cereal in the world, man. With the Body Buddies cereal. I don't know if y'all had Body Buddies.
No.
But
What?
the king, what was it? The Kicks, what was it? With the king on the box? I don't know if y'all had that.
No,
But
we ain't had that. We had some generic stuff, but we ain't had no body buddies, butter bodies, buddy.
that was a healthy brand, supposed to be a healthy brand of
Bruh.
cereal that you need about 4 pounds of sugar in it in order to make it good. So yeah, let's go on with the show, man. So let me ask you, what's the best piece of advice you received from your father, your mentor, your grandfather? What's the best piece of advice you received?
Be present. Like that's low hanging fruit right there, right? Like that's what everybody says is be present. But I don't think you can state how important being present in your kid's life is from before the kid is even born. Like when the kid is in the womb, like there are statistics that show the infancy mortality rates of dads that are there and dads that are not there. Like it's like they're like your kid's success literally depends on your involvement. Like if you look at statistics, like if the father is not there, I think it's like your kid is 4 times more likely to go to prison. If the father's not there, they're like 67%, and I don't know how they got to 67%, but whatever. 67% more likely to have a teenage pregnancy. It's just like the statistics are mind blowing. When the father is there versus when he's not, and so again, that's low hanging fruit to say be present, but it. Bro, that's the most important fruit. Like I don't know how else to say it. I don't have nothing deep and thought provoking, or you know what I'm saying? Like I went to public school.
Man, that's deep enough. It gets you thinking because, like you said, be present. Because you can be a father, you can be there, but not be present. You know, and then you're there, and
That's a whole different show.
Your kids are fighting for your attention. They're fighting for you to say something to them. They're fighting for you to be involved. And so they go out and they act out, get your attention. And so and they don't realize, fathers don't realize that you know that's part of being present. You know, you don't have to, if you can't make every game, be at what you can. Be there. If you can't, if you don't know what to say, try. Just try. Don't be afraid to ask questions, but be there for your kids. Spend time with your kids. There's times I'm dead tired, and my son's like, "Daddy, you know, I know when it's his time."
Yeah.
And you know, I'm like that. He's satisfied with me just sitting on the couch with him, watching him,
watching Encanto.
And he like, "Dad, you want to watch? Can you watch this with me?" And if I just said, if I'm tired, he's fine with me just sitting there watching his iPad with him. And that's all he needs. And that's me being present. So we think sometimes that we gotta be there, we gotta bring a gift, we gotta be profound, we gotta buy the gifts, we gotta go, we gotta take them everywhere. If we just I got a quote that said, I had a guest on one of my shows said, love to your child is time. You know, and that's all they really want is daddy to spend some time with me. And
Bruh, you know what I learned? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you good.
but what I was talking to a doctor, the guest we had on our show last week, he's a 45-year forensic child psychologist, and what he was saying was what I already knew, is that when our kids are acting out like that, it's not their fault. We condition them to be that way. Like, yeah, like a 3-year-old is going to be a 3-year-old, but like when they are always having like these blowouts and things like that, it's because when do they only get your time is when they're acting out. So now we've conditioned them like, hey, well, dad's not going to hang out with you unless you're acting out. So
That's
I
good.
need to have a big fiasco. Well, then dad's going to come and hold me and or talk to me, or dad's going to come and give me a spanking. And that's the only attention that I can get from him. So I need to get some more spankings. That's a whole different other podcast. But
Yeah.
right. And so it's like, if you're not being present and you're getting upset, because your kid's always acting out, well, it's probably your fault, bro.
Yeah. And I totally agree. Cause like my son, I had to set boundaries because I was giving him all my time. My wife was like, you got to set boundaries with him. He's going to be okay. And the reason that it was hard for me to do that, because I felt like if I told him no, that he was going to feel neglected like I felt because I didn't have my father. So I felt like if I don't give him the time that he's wanting, he's going to say, daddy doesn't love me because daddy won't spend time with me. So I would give, no matter what I had to do, no matter what, it was almost like I would plead with him, buddy, daddy needs some time to do it. He's like, daddy, please. And then I just give in. And my wife would say, babe, you got to set boundaries with him. He cannot monopolize all your time. Well, she'll grab him and say, you cannot monopolize daddy's time. But my past, my experience with my father said, he's going to feel neglected if you don't give him your time. Because
you going to therapy?
Huh?
You going to therapy?
Do I go to therapy?
Yeah.
No, I haven't. No, I thought about it though, but
you should. You need to deal with that one.
Huh?
I say you need to deal with that one.
Yeah.
And it's not just you. Heck, I need to go to therapy too. Like especially us as black men. I don't know who everybody's listening on your show, but especially us as black men, like there is a lot of trauma that comes with just being a black man in this country.
Yeah.
And then if you were a black man and you was like me and you had a lot of insecurity, or you were like you didn't have your dad, like, bro, there's some stuff we got to unpack that we have suppressed, that we don't talk about, that doesn't come up until we have our own kid. And so now you're projecting on your son, and you're I'm not a therapist. Don't hire me.
No, but man, and that's why I love these conversations, because it brings out stuff, that I'm not afraid to take advice, things like that, because one thing for me is I found my biological father on YouTube and Facebook. And
on YouTube.
Yeah, he's a big time singer musician over in Switzerland. But I reached out, and the last words he said to me was, leave him alone. So that hurt. And this was before my son was born. And that hurt. And that, as a grown man, I was 40, and I was like, okay, I tried to play it off like I was okay, but it hurt, because even times now it's like, my godfather's not here anymore for me to call and say, hey, dad, I need advice on this. It's like sometimes you want to hear your dad say, son, do this or do that. I got mentors, I can call, but it's not the same as your dad saying, son, do this, do that, and so those are things. But I have thought about
go ahead and do that.
Yeah.
Do you know who? I don't know. We're probably about to get off. I mean, again, show. Do you know who Willie Moore Jr. is?
Yeah.
So Pastor. So back in the day, Pretty Ricky, lay your body down. And anyway, so he'll be on our show in a couple weeks. But I was watching an interview because he did a documentary about he's adopted. And so he did an interview. He was interviewing somebody on his radio show, and I forget who it is. And if I said the name, you would know it, but I can't remember who her name is. But they were just interviewing, having a good conversation. And the lady looked at me, and she was just like, I heard about your story. And he was like, yeah, okay. He's like, I want to know, how did you think you were okay with never meeting your biological family? And he just kind of just sat there. And that, for me, that was like a gut punch reminder, like, bro, like, we get so complete, we survive, like, we figure out how to adapt and just
Mhm.
be. And bro, we got some stuff to deal with. And so, I mean, like, he's a multi millionaire, very successful, very positive person, and like, somebody just gut punched him with, you know what I'm saying? And if he has that type of success, how we, you know what I'm saying, when we got, hundreds of dollars, you know what
Yeah,
I mean? How we
yeah,
gonna think that we okay, right?
yeah.
I don't
And
know.
I feel you,
That's all I
man.
want to say.
No, but that is true, man. And so that I think that's one of the issues with black fathers.
Hmm.
And I would say fathers in general, because I think other fathers deal with, other races deal with too. But I think mostly for, like you said, us black fathers, because we experienced it the most, that
Hmm.
it's hard. Because I had one of my mentors said to me, because I was like, I really want to meet him. I really want to meet him. He said there may be a reason why God hasn't allowed that to happen yet. You
Hmm.
don't know what you could be. God could be hurt. God could be keeping you from. And I said, yeah, and I said, and I don't know if I may have been ready then.
Hmm.
I may have to speak to somebody to get ready just in case it happens. But if it don't happens, like I said, we say if it don't happen, we're okay. But deep down inside, you really want it to happen. But
So somebody told me you figure out how strong you really are when when you have to accept apology from someone that never comes. You have to accept apology that never comes from someone that's not sorry.
mm,
I was like, damn. I
wow.
was like, whoa, you feel out how strong you are when you have to accept an apology that never comes from somebody that's not sorry. I was like, bro. But anyways, do what you got to do. I'm done. I'm done.
That's deep. So what I like to do at the end of the show is I like to give you an opportunity to speak to other dads out there.
Hmm.
I give you about 60 seconds to just talk to other dads, give them a piece of advice, that you
Yeah.
feel that's going to impact their lives.
I would say, like, be proud of being a dad. Like, that's so. I don't know if Nate mentioned it. I have a clothing line called Teach Love Connect. Check it out, tlcbrand.com. Use the code DADLIFE, 20% off. But the entire purpose of the brand is to help dads to show their badge of honor, which is fatherhood. Like, it should be worn. You should be proud about it. And one, the world doesn't boost dads up enough, right? And so you got to do it yourself. But two, when your kids see those shirts, when they can read and understand, so they know that you're proud of them, so you don't even got to say nothing. I have a shirt. It says dad. It says DAD, but the A has like two hands in the middle, and so one hand is my hand, and the other hand is my daughter's hand. And so my daughter, whenever she sees me wearing it, she's like, "Oh, dad," she's like, "That's my hand, and that's your hand, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, baby girl, like that's my hand, and that's your hand." And it brings me pride to see her excited that dad is proud of her. And so to those dads out there, man, I would just say, like, be proud of being a father. And if you haven't been the type of dad that is quote unquote worthy of being proud or of being a dad, no, you can change that. As long as there's air in your lungs, as long as there's air in your kids' lungs, you can change that. Nate just said, like, hey, his dad said he doesn't want to meet him. That's okay. But Nate's still making that reach out. He's still trying to do that. And so if his dad ever does want to change that, there's still breath in your lungs to fix that. And so I would say, be proud of being a father, wear it as a badge, and don't ever, I don't want to say embarrass, but don't ever just sweep it under the rug, because that's not what we do. Nate, bring me back, man.
Let me tell you something, man. You ain't gonna come on here trying to moderate, my no, I'm just mess with you, man. Nah,
I
awesome,
will.
man.
I will.
Josh, man, I see. Josh, man, I appreciate you for coming on, man. Guys, just remember, we are here. We are You know, one thing I realized, man, that there's a dad community out there that I never knew about. You know, like this community of dads, you know, you guys, Terry Harden, um, all those guys, man. When I found that, man,
Yeah.
that blessed me, because you know I'm used to guys not, you know, coming together to
Yeah.
help each other. But when I found this community of dads, when I started doing this, I'm looking at your podcast, other dad podcasts, dad. I ain't know dad influencers. I'm like,
Yeah,
what?
yeah, yeah, bro. And it's crazy because you know what I'm saying, there's dads that look like us. And then, you know, once you're in the circle, and it's not that hard, man. You all it is you know, dads showing that they're actively involved. You start to form like a really tight bond. So I mean, you know, Terry was just down here in Dallas, so me and Kev linked up with him. Rob, Dr. Rob, he's up in Chicago, man. That's one of my dudes. DJ, he's in California. I was supposed to link up with him. I was just in LA like a month ago. You got Coach Brian Ward. Like there's so many dads, and they're so close. You got the homie Roland Pollard, who actually lives like 30 minutes away from me. Like I'm pretty positive you've seen Roland Pollard. Have you ever seen the dad with his daughter that does like gymnastics or cheerleading stunts
Yeah,
and things like that? Yeah,
yeah,
so that's Roland Pollard. So he's right up the street. But you know, Kev is I ain't knew Kev for a can of paint, bro. We met for lunch. We met up 20 minutes. So I drove 20 minutes. He drove 20 minutes. We went to lunch. The next day we started a podcast. I met Kev once
wow.
off of this dad influencer group. And now, you know, we put out a new episode every week. So I mean, we just did episode 64. So I mean, that's
Awesome, man. It's awesome. But I'm glad to be meeting all you guys, man, and to be becoming a part of this community, because I am just enjoying it, man. So guys, dads that are out there watching, there is a community of dads that
yeah.
are here that you can be a part of. You don't have to do this alone. That's why I do this. That's why Josh does his podcast. That's why other people do stuff. We do these things to be able to bring fathers together, because we
Mm-hmm.
want to change the narrative of fatherhood. Society is taking fathers out of the home. Society is taking fathers out of children's lives.
Yep.
Society is taking fathers off TV. They're just doing so much, but we want to show you that dads are supposed to be dads. They're supposed to love the kids, and how to do it. If
Mm.
you don't do it, ask questions. Reach out to these guys. Hit us up on Instagram.
Yeah.
You know, you can see Josh's Instagram is at Dads on Purpose. You know, mine is I am Nate Holloway. We got other people. You know, we K Relationships, Kingdom Relationships. That's our Instagram for our ministry. There are plenty of people. I'm finding these dads on Instagram, and I'm meeting them. You can do that. You can meet them, and you can reach
It's
out.
easy.
So we want you guys just do it. But guys, I thank you guys for joining us tonight. Don't forget, I need you to share this. Go on iTunes, like the podcast, go on YouTube, and subscribe. I want you guys to go to Josh. Guys, check out this podcast. It is awesome. Josh, tell me a little bit about your podcast, man.
Yeah, man. Dads on Purpose podcast. That's what the handle is on Instagram. You go to YouTube, Dads on Purpose. Me and Kev, you know, every week putting out a new show, and our whole purpose, man, is to help dads be the best versions of themselves, and we do that through encouragement, education, and entertainment. So that's what we do. So every week we have a different guest. We talk literally about everything. The only requirement for someone to come on our show is that you have to give some sort of value to our listeners that's going to make them a better dad. So we'll have doctors come on, or we'll have people come on talking about men's health. We'll talk about grief counseling. We're talking about, you know, psychology of children's behavior. Um, we're talking about, you know, hey, how to take your business to the next level. Whatever it is, it's geared towards fathers, and it's all about helping them be better than they were, you know, an hour before they listen to the podcast. So, Dads on Purpose podcast.
Guys, check it out. I enjoy it. I'm telling you, they have you laughing, they have you rolling, and they have you thinking too. So just check them out. Follow Josh on Instagram. But guys, thank you guys for joining. I appreciate it. Again, I need you guys to go and share this, subscribe, Rate us on YouTube. We strive for 5. Like it. If you let me know, hit me up. Email us at hello@kingdomrelationships.org. If you have a question, if you have somebody you want us to interview, if you have a topic you want me to talk about, or if you just have a question, if you need prayer, whatever you need, just email us and let us know, and we'll reach back out to you to talk about that. And guys, let me know what you think. If you like the show, let me know you like it. If you don't like it, let me know you don't like it. But let me know why you don't like it, so I can go and look at what I need to change. And for you guys, since Josh tried to call me out at the beginning of the show, the shirts are here. This is Hey Dad, Can I? Because that's all I hear from my sons. Hey Dad, can I? Hey Daddy, can I? Daddy, 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 Daddy. And I'm sure other dads that you guys can go to our website at krcollective.org. You can see the shirts there. Order your shirt, and we got different shirts. We got Epic Dad, Epic Mom. Got Hey Mom, Can I? So we have different shirts. I think you guys will like. Just check it out. But guys, thank you guys for joining us tonight. Again, until next week, be victorious.